My name's Francesca. I have just got out of prison. I actually got back to letter writing while I was in prison, so nobody does that anymore, right? Yeah, I got a couple of letters and I started writing. I just really enjoyed it. It's a really nice way to communicate with people because you actually think about what you're going to say, which is not something you do when you're sending messages. And all the news you get in prison is either from the TV news or from the letters that people send you, because obviously what you see on the news is very biased, very limited. So that solidarity is really key. When the Filton 10 and then later the Filton 18 got sent to prison, I decided that I wanted to write to all of them. There's something very special about the solidarity between prisoners when we write each other letters, because we're sharing the same experience, so we understand it in a different way, in an instinctual way that people on the outside who've never been to prison don't really understand. So that solidarity for me has been really important. I don't know any of the Filton 18. I've never met them, but I feel like we know each other already, which is a very special thing. The interesting thing about writing letters to people you don't know is how the personality jumps out through the page. You're sharing their day-to-day life with them, and like survival tips, what's on the TV, silly little things like that. But then one of the great things was like the book recommendations and some people sharing their poetry as well. That was really nice. One day a poem just, it came out of me. I don't know where it came from. I don't know how to write poetry. I didn't even know it was a poem until someone else told me that. And then just by coincidence, Lottie wrote me one of her poems and I replied with mine, and it was just a really nice thing to share. And her poetry is beautiful because it really just took me out of the four walls. I never really read any poetry before, but for some reason, something about being in that particular space, it really drew me to poetry. I felt it in a different kind of way. And I don't exactly know why that is. Probably because you're in such an intense, confined space that all your emotions become stronger. So this is a poem that Lottie sent to me in a letter while I was in prison, and I want to share it because I think it's really beautiful. It's called Free Floating. Bend so as not to break. Become supple and loose. Free-form limbs in floating space. The only defense against the undefined, sharp-edged reality. Meld yourself a molten core, lest the rigid structures paint your body mauve and lemon and deepest ocean blue. Shed your corporeal frame. Feel yourself flex over the surprise obtrusions, the interminable stream of unforeseen obstructions. Fluid, malleable, but impenetrable, your salvation lies in this weightless, ephemeral adaptation. When you're in such a rigid space in those four walls, something like that, I actually felt my body kind of loosen up while I was reading it, so that was just a beautiful feeling. The overwhelming thing that all of us have experienced and that the Filton 18 are still experiencing is this sensation of limbo, of being on remand, of not knowing what's going on, and being indefinitely detained without having an actual conviction. And that is a very difficult thing to deal with, that uncertainty and the fact that the trial dates keep changing. Yeah, I think that's something that we've all shared, and it's something that should be highlighted. The sad fact is we can't get the justice that we deserve from the system. We know that, but we can make our own justice. We can create our own movement for solidarity that goes beyond just the political prisoners as well, in fact. And, remember, this is a long-term commitment. This doesn't finish when the Filton 18 get out of prison. And I'm really looking forward to meeting them. And, I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about, to share our experiences. And even though I'm out of prison now, I still feel like I'm with them. And I'm always going to talk about them. I'm always going to tell everybody that they need our support in every way possible.